Welcome back, everybody, to the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr. The channel that we're talking to today has three phenomenal people. You've got Adam, Zach, and the Princess. Everybody wave and bow. You'll see mystery box openings. You'll see what's in the box, CGC openings. There's just all kinds of great content on this channel. Everybody join me in welcoming to 10 Questions, one of my favorite channels out there.
Oh,
Comic Gains.
There you go. You getting it?
How you doing, guys?
Good. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Start the morning out right.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate
you
guys. Look at my man. It's early where he's at.
It's 10 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock somewhere, right? Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to come over and hang out with me here on 10 Questions, and we'll just jump right into it. The first question, guys, is always the same, and whichever one of you wants to start first can. Who or what got you into collecting?
You want to go first?
I can go first. It's kind of a two-part kind of answer. It's I got into collecting like seriously from my brother Nick. He kind of gave me his little comic book collection of Uncanny X-Men. It was a Mutant Massacre run, and that's kind of like, oh, this is really cool. I really like this. The other part was actually with my mom. We were driving around looking at garage sales when I was 12 or 13, and we see this one garage sale sign says collectibles, right? And you're following the signs, like going down the road, sign here, turn left, turn left, turn left. We were following these signs for 30 minutes. This thing was deep. It was deep. And we weren't expecting to find anything crazy, but it was all about the hunt. And, got there, found some comic books, and I'm like, man, this was a long journey, but the hunt to find this stuff, to look through these comics, at this point in my life, I didn't know what I was looking at. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a Robin #1 part 2 or something like that. It was really not good. Oh my God, we found him. We found him in the wild. And that's how I really got into comic books beginning, just grabbing whatever I could find for 25 cents to $1. Not
Sure.
knowing what I'm doing, but it was fun finding them.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of similar. Actually, my mom's the one that got me into comics too. She used to collect Archie and all that, like Casper the Friendly Ghost, back in like the 60s and 70s and stuff. And she kept them the whole time. So when I was little, she kind of like let me read through them, and it kind of got me into wanting to look at comics and see what they were all about. So back in the day when Costco kind of started out here in Washington, they used to do those grab bags. It was like 20 books in there. So every time we go to Costco, my parents would let me buy one of those in those book stacks they used to do. I don't think they do them anymore, but it was cool back then. And I would get those and read through them. A lot of like Death of Superman and all that stuff was coming out around that time. And then recently, just Zach's pretty much the one that got me back into comics in the last like 3 years or so, like pretty heavily. So
Good job, Zach.
Yeah.
I had to bring him back. I'm bringing you back, man.
Yeah. I was out and they pulled me back in.
Right. I tried
Yeah.
to get away.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's cool. That is the first time. I mean, I've been, this will be like the 39th, 40th episode, something like that, 10 Questions. And I've never had anybody actually tell me their mom collected. So that's cool. So was it somebody in her family that kind of got her into it, or is it just something that growing up she was into?
I don't know. With my mom, I know an uncle that I haven't really talked to that much is a really big collector of like the superhero books. So she told me he had tons of stuff. I've never seen it, but the way she talks, it sounds like it could be like a pedigree collection if anybody ever finds it.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's cool. For me, it was my uncle, and I've talked about that a lot on here. It was my uncle. He traded at the flea markets, and it started out for me like more baseball cards, like trading cards. And then going to the flea market with him, he would always have different stuff. And comic books was one of those things. And he used to just let me sit there and read them. I would go hang out with him. Me and my dad would. And we would go hang out with him at the flea market. And I would just sit up on his table, and I could do anything I wanted. I was his boy, so I could do anything I wanted, touch anything I wanted, read anything I wanted. So I would sit there and read comic books. And so, yeah, that's cool. No, that's awesome. I like that too. And that it was your mom's because I'm a big mama's boy, like a massive mama's boy. So, I think that's awesome. Very cool. All right. So Question 2. Do you read? Like, there's 1,000 different ways to collect, right? So, like, for me, I read a lot of stuff. Not just comic books, I just read a lot. But my comic book collection came from all this stuff that I read. You have some people that just collect keys. You have some people that are just going after the bangers. How do you guys collect? Are you readers that collect, or you just collect?
Well, my collecting strategy has changed over the years drastically. At the beginning, I was just reading everything and not in order at all. So I have pieces of stories here, and here all over the place. I bought this small collection, four or five long boxes of pretty much all Image stuff, and I read all of those boxes, so I know about all about Backlash, all about some about Wildstorm, some about Evil Ernie. I really love Evil Ernie. That's how it got me into Evil Ernie, and a number of other Image titles, a lot of Image stuff. And then over a period of time, I got all these books that know a little bit about everything, and a little bit here, a little bit there, and then it kind of transitioned. Like, hey, it's like I'm spending a lot of money on comics, even if it's like cheap books. So maybe I should make this more like an investment kind of purpose. So I started buying more keys, specifically X-Men. And then I took the next step and got into the graded kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I still read, not as much as I used to. There's only like 2 or 3 titles I really read right now. It's a Deadly Class, Strange Academy, and one other one I can't remember. I haven't read it in so long. But yeah, I really like Deadly Class. It's really amazing. And sci-fi will stay forever in my heart as the Shame channel. I don't know.
Right.
I'm going that bad. Anyway, sci-fi sucks. And then I finally got into collecting investment purposes. So justification of spending money on these books.
Right.
Hundreds and hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars on these books. It's investment. So
Sure. What about you?
I'm a big reader. So like I started out reading all my stuff when I was younger in the 90s and really getting into Spider-Man and whatnot. And then when we got back into it, like kind of 2019, collecting again, I started kind of going with the keys, kind of going with what Zach was doing. But then, went to the LCS, got like a pull box going, really started to read like all these indie titles. Kind of harder to jump back into the mainstream Marvel and DC books and read, kind of catch up where you're at. But definitely all these indie titles. I probably got at least 10 or 12 different titles I'm reading right now that I'm just getting. I'm enjoying the reading more than anything.
Sure. Well, it's a good time, especially with indies, as far as, and that's something we'll talk a little bit later, it's just a really good time. There's a lot of really good stories out there, especially with the indie titles. Let me ask this, because what you said is true about, like, since I got out. So, like, I collected when I was young. And then as I like to jokingly say, I discovered girls and beer. And I went to college and I stepped away. And when I was broke, I was in college, I was broke. Yeah. So, I got out, I started making some money, I got married, had kids, and then my kids got old enough to where they didn't want to fool with me anymore. And so I just ventured into a comic book store one day, and I was done. Right. So, and I started buying everything, like every cover, A, B, C, and D, whatever. I mean, I was buying it all. And I remember it was when Civil War II came out, and I was like, okay, I told on my pull list, I said, I want every tie-in, I want everything. I walked in one day, and hell, there was like $150 worth of books there. And I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't know what I had got into, right?
I get.
So as far as like one of the things that has changed lately, and I was interested to know for you guys, is when I read, like I have converted to reading some stuff digitally, just for a matter of space. Do either one of you all read digital, or do you still like the paper in your hand?
I know, like, Zach reads a lot of digital, like, mangas and stuff like that, and a lot of books and stuff. But for comics, I like to have the individual book. I even kind of shy away a little, even from getting like trade paperbacks, just because, I know it's easier to read a trade paperback, go through the whole thing, but I like having the individual comics, like one at a time. Like right now, I'm doing The Walking Dead Deluxe, just because I never read it when it originally came out in the black and white, and I'm a big fan of the show, but I have it on my pull list where I get the book that comes out every 2 weeks, just because I like to read it in the comic book form.
In the comic book form, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's something like, it is weird. like when I first started trying to read it digitally, I just couldn't get into it. And it almost became a matter of necessity just because of space. Because what, Zach was saying about, we kind of moved, right? It kind of went into, CGC graded books and you're getting keys and things like that. I've done that too. I have a pretty good collection. Talking about that uncle, that a lot of it I acquired from him when he passed away. He left to me, things like that, the really big books. But I have found myself too, you kind of hone in on certain titles that you really love and you read those, and then you kind of, venture into the investment side of it, which I think a lot of collectors go through that. As far as, like I said, there's probably just across from where I'm sitting, there's probably 15 long boxes sitting here, of just books that I've read that I just can't continue to do that. So,
know how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you guys collect anything else other than comic books? Like, are you into trading cards or action figures or Funko Pops or anything like that?
We don't really collect Funko Pops. We somehow acquire them. Like they just
Right.
show up at the house. But well, I used to be really, really big into Magic cards. Was probably the only other the big thing back in the day. It's been a while since I've done anything with Magic. And then in the 90s when everybody collected sports cards, I got my sports cards that aren't worth anything because they're all like super overproduced, and you didn't realize that when you're that age. Then as soon as I found out all the cards I had were worth nothing, I was like, I'm not having anything to do with sports cards anymore. But
yeah, I mainly collect comic books, as everybody knows. I have some Magic cards. I've been selling them off a little bit here and there. I got into statues a little bit, but you only have like 5 or 6 statues, and they're nothing too expensive, but they take up so much room. I can't. I mean, I was concerned, like, if I buy the statue here, I have to put it in the bathroom because I don't have to space. I mean, who wants to, use restroom with the Savage Hulk on, the toilet?
Right. It can be a little intimidating, right? I mean, it'd be kind of hard to pee with the Savage Hulk sitting there looking at you. I don't know, no. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. Like, it's funny about Funko Pops, right? Because I have Funko Pops. I'm not sure where I got them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how but I have 5 Funko Pops that I purchased on purpose, and that is Metallica, because I'm a massive Metallica fan. So I have the Metallica Funko Pops and the Lady of Justice that came with that. But there's probably 25 other Funko Pops in there, and I'm not sure how I got them.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah. So it's funny how that happens.
Yeah. A Funko is a good business plan.
Right. No. Well, and here's the thing too, like the Magic cards, that's something that's interesting to me. I'm really just learning about, like, I missed the Magic thing, right? As far as that part goes, like, that's not anything I really know about. And we were talking to a guy the other day on a different channel, and he was telling me, like, he played competitively, like, you can play professionally. Did either one of you guys ever, kind of venture into it that deep, or something you just more did for fun?
A little bit of tournaments here and there. Like I started playing close to the beginning, back, I can't remember when that came out, like 98, 95 or something like that. So a little bit of that, some tournaments and stuff. But as soon as it got really serious where people were spending like tons of money, I kind of like backed away from a little bit, but yeah, it gets pretty intense.
Yeah. And then finding time for it is kind of, it's like you had like Wednesday night Magic kind of thing where you come to the house or you go out to the shops and play with your friends and randos, and it's fun. But then after a period of time, you're like, when you're gonna have time to do it? So it's like
right. No,
very true.
No, that makes total sense. All right, guys. So question 3, like when you are like hunting back issues or you're hunting those grails, like, what's your favorite place to go hunt? I mean, is it like flea markets or antique stores or the LCS or eBay, or is it mystery boxes? Like, what's your favorite way to acquire books?
I'd say we recently got into flea markets.
Swap meets.
Yeah, we have one in our community that just opened back up this summer. So this is kind of the first time we've gone to it as like in our new collecting realm, going to search for there. That's been a lot of fun. We do like, there's quite a few LCSs because we live in Washington State, like within like a 2-hour drive that we like to kind of drive around. Like we'll go on a vacation somewhere, and on the way there, we'll hit like every LCS going up there, and we'll dig through those. Those are a lot of fun. Definitely to get like your value, if you're finding like, nice books for a cheaper price. I know we like, and then mystery boxes, obviously, because that's like our thing, the princess really loves the mystery boxes, like the gambling aspect of it. We like it too. It's exciting, it's fun, but it kind of brings us all together as like a group opening the mystery box. So I guess all three of those is like our favorite way. I don't know if we have a favorite way.
Well, the most efficient way, there's two that I'm thinking. Like we hit up new shops / Comic Cons, shops more because there's hardly any Comic Cons right now. You can find a lot of value there. Other thing is YouTube.
YouTube auctions. Yeah, we got really big into YouTube auctions.
Yeah, we found crazy deals on there and crazy deals in the wild. And at the convention, we walked away probably with $500-$600 worth of books for like less than 150.
Wow.
Because the prices have fluctuated so much. Comic book market is very volatile. And,
absolutely. That's the reason I asked that question is where I live is rural Eastern Kentucky, right? So it's very rural. The closest comic shop from where I'm sitting at this moment is an hour.
Wow.
Okay, so and my office where my business is like 5 minutes down the road from one of those comic shops. But where I live, to go to the comic book store, I have to drive an hour. So I like to ask that because you have to be creative here, like how you hunt. And, as far as like there's antique stores around that will occasionally have stuff in, you can go to the flea market, occasionally you can find some stuff there. Same thing that you said, Adam, as far as like when you're on vacation, you're traveling, you might stop at a few places on the way. I do that. It's just, I like to always ask that question. Now, one thing I think from COVID, I'm interested to know what you guys think about this is, if anything good, right? If there's any silver lining from what happened with COVID, is that you're seeing a lot more people go to like IG to sell or to YouTube to sell. And it has created almost a bigger marketplace, right? Where you can, and I think that may have been there before, but just with COVID, it kind of forced everybody to go there to look. Do you guys think that same thing? Was that your experience with the whole COVID thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I would say with like right before COVID hitting was kind of like when we started the whole comic games thing, because we've been doing it for about a year and a half, but that really like kicked it off. Like we got furloughed for like 3 or 4 months. So we were just sitting at home. We started getting into that Spider-Man booth, watching every Monday because we had no jobs to go to. Now that we're working, it's hard to keep up with all the Spider-Man booth stuff going on. But just definitely, Princess was going on Instagram, and then we'd watch like all the YouTube auctions, just because you're sitting at home and it creates like this, whole community of people. So definitely it changed it for us. I don't know if we'd be where we're at without COVID.
Right. Well, and Zach, what about Whatnot? Yeah. Like Whatnot is the thing too. Like they've really expanded into the comic book side of things as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whatnot, I don't know anything about other than it's another venue to sell. It's cheaper than eBay, so at least to sell. I guess they take a less of a cut from you. So, and it kind of makes it a little bit while you're on the Whatnot app, I guess, is like kind of competitive because I think they got 30-second or minute timers between each bid. So you have to make a quick decision, and that can be the benefit for the seller or the disbenefit or however works out in English.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting aspect. We've been considering selling on there for a minute. At least the Princess is considered selling. Just we got to work up to it. Only really not success, but like we sell on eBay obviously, but we've done a few. This is probably a slight change on the question, but like we've sold we've done a couple raffles on IT, and that has been kind of fun.
Yeah, raffles are cool.
Yeah, raffles are fun. I mean, like it kind of comes back to that gambling aspect of it, where you're throwing down a little bit of money, but if you hit big. I mean, and that makes it fun. And I think I've never hosted a raffle or anything. I participated in a few, but as far as that goes. All right. So question 4, I want to get into your channel just a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about the Comics Game channel. How did you guys all meet?
Princess and I worked together for years and years and years, and I was actually really good friends with Zach's older brother growing up, and then we just kind of became friends like through that connection. We actually all lived together. His older brother lives with us all together in this one house. But I've known Zach. I actually knew Zach when he was just a little kid, and because I'm much older than he is. But then we just kind of became really good friends doing comics together. Kind of kicked it off, and we kind of roped the Princess into this whole idea of like, come do this show with us. It'll be exciting.
No, that's cool. I mean, no, that's cool. I always wondered that, like the three of you guys. Like, I didn't know if like you guys were married or you know what I'm saying. Like, you always just kind of wonder, like, how do people come together? And like you said, you started the channel really what out of boredom because of COVID, right?
Yeah. It was kind of like we were watching, started watching YouTube. Zach was getting me into comics, so I started watching different YouTube stuff so I could learn about like different comics to be looking for when I'm out there. And then I kind of stumbled across people opening that Spider-Man booth. I think mainly Franchise Kicks originally is when I saw him open that Spider-Man booth. And I'm sitting here by myself and I'm like, all right, I'm going to order a box. I didn't even tell Zach about it. I'm just going to order this one. And then we get it in and we end up ordering like one of the early Superior boxes, like the V6, I think was like the first one, 7 or something like that. And I'm like, Zach, why don't we just like open this on YouTube and just do our thing? And we like convinced the princess to come and show the books for us. And it was just kind of an accident, like the way like it came about. And then, Princess wasn't into comics at all at the beginning. And that's kind of the reason why she didn't talk. At the beginning, it was just an accident. She was like, oh, I don't have anything to say about the comics, so I'm not going to say anything at all. And now she's like extremely into comics. Like her collection outweighs mine probably by like double, which is funny. And then the mystery of it with like her not talking is like kind of grown with the show. So we just kind of left it that way where she doesn't talk, even though she has like plenty to say about comics now. If you follow her on like IG or anything like that, she knows what she's talking about. But it's funny how that all worked out.
No, that is funny. Like when you guys start, has your channel changed much? Like from the beginning, like how it started to now? I know my channel has gone through a big evolution. I mean, like almost every quarter, I change it, but I almost run it like I run my business. As far as that way, I kind of read analytics and look and see what's going on, what's working, what's not. Has your all's channel changed a whole lot from the beginning to what it is now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've changed multiple ways of recording. Just as like the visual and sound aspect, we've changed quite a bit, and we're considering changing some more. At least like sound recording. We need to up our game with the sound recording. But yeah, we've recorded on 4 or 5 different things, I feel like, and recorded on 2 or 3 different things, and to get extra advice and everything, and how to edit software. We bought $1,000 computer to help edit some of the videos a little bit better. We've done quite a bit. Our thumbnails, we've been trying to increase our thumbnails. We've been trying to put like keywords that don't mislead people, so that also gets people to click on our videos. Like, oh, this seems like it's pretty interesting. I can't say that word right now.
Words are hard. I know how it is. It's fine.
Yeah, with like I think the original part of the channel was like doing mystery box unboxing and stuff like that. But then if you're watching any of our older stuff, there's a lot of throwing ideas out. We were kind of like, let's try this and see how this goes. And then you do something like maybe explain some comics, and you're like, okay, that didn't go over too well. And then you're like, all right, we're gonna do what's in the box. This will be something we can do that's like free. We don't have to spend any money on. Just look through Zach's old stuff, and that worked out. It's different things kind of. And then like as it progressed, it's almost now we're like in a rhythm. I think as we added things in, like Zach always drinking the beer in the beginning, and then Zach going on his rants at the end, and me always opening the books, and we're definitely in a rhythm, and it's made it a lot easier, I think. But we gotta like keep thinking about changing things up, because otherwise you just become the same thing over and over again. So
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's great. You're right. I don't know, it's just weird. Like I like asking people this, because it is weird to just sit and talk to a camera, right? Especially when you first start. It's you sitting in a room, especially me. At least you guys, got your friends there with you. I was just standing in a room talking to this camera, and it felt really weird. Was that weird for you all when you first started, like sitting there chatting to the camera?
Oh yeah, like super nervous. Even though we weren't recording live, I would get really nervous, and you're really self-conscious about like how you're talking and like how your face looks and stuff like that, and like everything around you. Now we're much more casual, I think, and like it gets more to the point where like it's just our I think it works really. It's easier for us because we got our banter to go back and forth with each other, and but yeah, definitely it was weird in the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning I was actually doing the majority of the talking, it felt like, because we were just so nervous, and I don't even know what I was saying at the beginning. And then
You just black out, and 10 minutes later, there's a video. Yeah.
Hopefully, hope for the best. And then there was instances we try to take like one take. Like, hey, we start the video and just go and hope for the best, and it's gotten better. Our banter back and forth hasn't really led to a lot of awkward gaps in the video, so it's been working out. But at the beginning, we were like, all right, we got to redo this one. Redo it. All right, whatever. I'm tired. Let's just do it. And let's go live. Kind of like that little funny commercial. Not commercial. News anchor guy. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. All right.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, no. So no, why the name Comic Gains? Like, why did y'all choose that name?
Funny story. What's that TV show you were really into at the time? That one that takes place in Canada that you were watching on.
CGC Team CGC.
No. It was a TV show.
That
TV show that was like, God, the one where you're like Ferda. Remember the one?
Oh my God,
Letterkenny. Yeah, he was really into Letterkenny. I didn't really watch it that much, but he'd always watch. He watched all the time, and those two guys around there, like, they'd always say like Ferda and like Gaines, and like, we got to get those.
We'll go get those mad gains.
Yeah, those games. It's like they would say that all the time. And when we were coming up with them, like, he would say that all the time. He'd be like, "Oh man, we're gonna get those gains and like get these beer gains or whatever." And I'm like, "Why don't we just call the show Comic Gains?" So you say it all the time.
And there you go.
Yeah.
We were going to the gym trying to get those gains, but the muscle gains are like, no, we're just gonna get Comic Gains stuff.
I love it. Yeah, there you go. Great. It's funny how the name comes about, right? I mean, for me, I live in a small town of 600 people, so I named myself SmallTown, which people in college used to call me that because when I was in college, everybody knew where I was from or they'd been here, and it's really small, and they just say, "Hey, small town," so they used to call me that all the time. So it just, I don't know, just kind of stuck for me. Yeah. So question 6, you guys do a lot of mystery boxes and have done a lot of mystery boxes. Like, what to you guys makes a good mystery box?
Diversity in the box, like graded book, Silver Age, a couple like randos. Like the box, if you don't know a little bit about it, like if you open it, whoa, this is the first appearance of this. I did not know that, kind of thing. It's how the box is set together. If it's just like all graded books, it's going to be like, you might have value, but it's okay. Or if it's all raw books, you'd be like, But if it's like graded, different age of comics and different kind of like information that you didn't know about, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, big thing for me, I like the ones where they have like a big prize. You have that chance to get something. Like if you're buying a box, it's like $150, and there's a chance there's like a $2,000 book. You get a chance to win. That's cool for the mystery box. I enjoy those. More for me is like if you get books that you would want. It doesn't even have to be, even if it's like the exact same value as like what you paid. If it's something that you wanted for your personal collection, because like we flip a lot of stuff, so we're getting stuff and like we kind of look at it like, I don't want this, he doesn't want that. We're like, let's just sell it. But a lot of times if you get stuff that you really want that's kind of like hot right now or current, that's important to me too, because it's kind of always a weird thing. Like if we were thinking of doing a mystery box, I'd always want to put something in there that I would want. So it'd be nice to send it out to somebody else.
Is value real important to you guys? Like me, like if you pay $100 for a box, you want $100 in value, or is it, I'm sure that's nice, right? But it's always good to get your value back. Is that more important, or is it more important to just get books that you like that variety and that diversity? Like, what's more important to you guys?
I think really it's about the value of the box as what you pay for. Like if it's a $40, $50 box, get books that are really cool. The value at that point is like, hey, I just want some cool freaking books. If it's a $500 box, you better be getting some value for that. That's how I think of it. What do you think, Adam?
I could go the same way. I still like getting books that I want over value, but yeah, that's for me,
Like for example,
go ahead.
For example, at least for the lower end, like $40, $50 books, $40, $50 boxes, the people that put those together in mass, or even sometimes they're low batch runs, they add a lot of information, and it's really nice. But you actually can like, oh, this I didn't know that, I didn't know that, I didn't know that, and there's a number of companies that actually do that and people that do that, and it's really nice for those boxes. We have a lot of fun doing those.
Cool. Do you guys have a favorite box? That like a favorite box you like to open? Like for me, it's IRF Authentics, but I like autographed comic books. So I like collecting autographs. I'm obviously from Kentucky, and I collect the Kentucky basketball like it's king here, right? So when you're born, you come out, part of the Big Blue Nation, and they put you in the Big Blue Nation onesie, and that's, it's on. So I collect autographs of the Kentucky basketball players in different ways, but normally trading cards because I kind of grew up doing that. So that IRF box, I really like. Like that's a fun box for me to get. Do you guys have like a particular box that you buy or you found that you just love?
I would say overall, I like the community boxes the best, just like the ones from other YouTubers or IG members and stuff like that. They tend to be the most fun, a little less corporate that you get like those boxes. There's always going to be a special place in my heart for that Spider-Man boot, just because they kind of got me into this sort of thing, And JP's just such an awesome person anyway. So, but yeah, community member boxes I think I like the best.
Yeah, it's hard to pick out just one. So it's I think we've opened so many community members boxes. So
yeah,
picking out just one would be like
there's a couple like boxes that if you watch a show, we stick with. Like we always do the Comic Tom mystery mail call.
Yeah,
we still get that one, and then we still always get the Box Hero mystery box, just because the price point's really nice. It's like $40. Both of those are really cool for like entry level collecting and stuff like that, and it's just nice to get those, and it doesn't cost us a lot to do a show on them too, so it's fun.
And Silverback's fun too.
Silverback, yeah, I haven't bought theirs. I've seen you guys open them, but I've never bought one of those. There's several that I'm considering right now. Like I don't do Comic Tom anymore, but I'd stopped buying a lot of different boxes because again, I'd kind of changed the direction of my channel somewhat, and I'm just doing Mystery Box Monday, so I'd kind of just brought it down. But there's some other boxes that I've been looking at to feature, and Silverback's one of those. I think I've seen you guys open. Was it Big Head? Is that one that you guys?
Big Head?
Yeah, is that one? Does that ring a bell?
Doesn't sound familiar.
I'm thinking Comic Head 84, but I don't think he does mystery box. I can't remember.
We've done like the Comic Vantage box a couple times. Yeah. And then what's the one with like the Lucky Duckies? We've done that one.
Oh, Main Street.
Yeah.
They're okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So let's kind of move on to some more industry talk as far as just some different things in the industry, and kind of want to know what you guys think about it. Like the prices, right? The market has been so insane really through the COVID. And I think it has to do a lot with what you had said earlier, Adam, about being off work, and bored, and people were looking for something to do. And plus they were giving all the stimulus money out. They were, paying pretty well on unemployment, and I think people maybe had some extra disposable cash, and so they were looking for something to do, and they got into comic books. And I think, what Zach said too earlier was from the investment standpoint, I think there are a lot of buyers now that are really looking at them as investments. And so, they're diversifying their portfolio into different things, whether that be trading cards or comic books or anything like that. My question to you guys is, and Zach, you start first on this one, is do you think these price points can sustain themselves? Or do you think that, do you think it's a bubble? Do you think it's going to pop? Or do you think your blue chip books will continue to kind of gradually rise, just like a good blue chip stock will, and then maybe some of the other books you'll see a big decrease in value?
I think the increases that we've seen up to this point are going to taper out probably over a period of time. You're going to start seeing books kind of like level out. It's going to still go up, and when new comic news comes out, there's going to be fluctuations, of course, when a show is about to come out. But is it a bubble? It very well could be, but I think worst case, it pops, it goes down 25%. In another 10 years after that point, it's going to go up to beyond this point. So if you got blue chip books, big books that are going to stay valuable, keep those. the other books, if you want, you can probably sell them off while they're still kind of high. But the big keys, X-Men 1, Amazing Fantasy 15, Fantastic Four 1, and as you go on down the line, will always be quite valuable and will continue value. And people that are in kind of like comics, they're younger right now, another 30 years, for example, they're going to be into comics then, or they're going to have that nostalgia. And some of them will be CEOs and they want to be getting back what they've seen. Like, hey, I love Spider-Man, so I want Amazing Fantasy 15, and there's going to be 20 other people that want it at the same time. So that book's going to go up from whatever point it was at that point. So,
Sure.
yeah, I think the comic book industry or comic book collecting has a bright future. There might be a down slope from this point, but I don't think it's going to be much. And blue chip keys, I think, and blue chip keys of modern stuff right now might not be a bad idea to keep.
Gotcha. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like just from what I've seen, just collecting heavily in the last like 3 years. Just some of the books I remember, like we got like Amazing Spider-Man 300, picked one up like a couple years ago for like $200 and like pretty high grade, like raw. You know, now that book's selling for like, you know, like almost $1,000 in a decent grade. It's crazy that it's jumped that much, you know, so quickly. And like a lot of people say there's so many new collectors that are just like come into this thing. Obviously I'm one of them, you know, that kind of like help drive the prices up. But I think as long as like the movies and TV shows are going on, like the MCU or the DCEU or like everything going on with Disney Plus, which doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. So even if that goes on, it's already been going on for 10 years. If it even goes on for another 20, 30 years, I think the books are just going to keep getting higher. I don't think the bubble will pop until the shows go away or like the movies like slow down. It's so many books that weren't worth that much. So you just like show one little character, one villain shows up in a TV show and the book just goes nuts.
Kind of like Kang right now, right? Like you know, you get the references to Loki with Kang, and now all the Kang books are crazy.
Everything. I mean, I had to go back through and look through all of our old books that I put aside. I'm like, hey, these aren't worth anything. And now I'm like, anything with Kane on the cover is like, you know, instantly like a $30, $40 book. No, that's like it's nuts, you know. And like, I don't see that going away as long as the shows come out and as long as they're good.
What about the books? Like I've done this many times. I mean, I'm not even going to play. Like I've gone to the LCS that week, picked up some books, came home a week later. One of those books that I paid $3 for is selling for $50 on eBay. And I went back to the LCS. They had 3 more copies, and I've grabbed those and sold them for $50 on eBay. And that's the part I think will go away. Is the FOMO, right? The, you know, people are like, oh no, especially the new collector. I know I was like that when I first got back in. I had to have everything, right? I didn't want to miss anything. And as you kind of mature in the collecting, you know, and kind of figure out, A, it's incredibly expensive to buy all that junk. And then B, a lot of it's not really worth anything after you get it. I think that's the part that'll go away. I think both of you guys make great points. I think that with the movies and with Disney Plus and now with HBO Max, with what you're going to see happen, I think you're going to see DC go through something similar. A lot of the DC books right now are the books you should be grabbing because until HBO Max starts doing their thing with those titles, I think you can get those pretty affordable. The Marvel stuff's going to be kind of out there. So that's really what I've been looking for. Like both those answers. Those are good answers. Okay, so question 7 is this. And it was something, again, being kind of coming back into the hobby and maybe going to a few cons, seeing some things that I hadn't necessarily seen before, okay? And that is cosplay. And I know Princess does cosplay. You know, Vampirella, I think I've seen Silk. I mean, I've seen her do several different things. Do you guys, are you into the cosplay at all? I mean, or is that more of a Princess thing?
I don't think I've ever seen Zach cosplay at all. I
want to see Zach cosplay. Let me be honest. Like, Zach, I might pay good money to see you cosplay.
I know, yeah. We tried to talk him into it. We've all, the 3 of us and my brother and stuff have been going to Emerald City Comic Con for like the past like 5 or 6 years, even longer than I was even collecting. Like I went there just to like hang out, and I would do cosplays. They never come out as good as like the female stuff. Like if you go out and buy like a $50 like Punisher costume on Amazon for a guy, and you come back looking like a doofus, and a girl can buy like a $50 like Black Cat costume on Amazon and come back looking really great. So it's kind of fun. You almost have, as a dude, like I think one year I had a nice Spider-Man costume that I wore to the con. And I never tried on the mask. And so I realized that I couldn't see anything without my glasses, and then I couldn't see anything anyway. So I ended up just not wearing the mask the whole time at the con, and nobody wanted any pictures with me. like I didn't want to like not see what was happening, at the con.
Does Princess ever say like what is the attraction to the cosplay? Like that's like me. I'm probably Zach and I are probably more like in that you will probably not see me get dressed up. Okay, there's no interest in that for me. I like to go and look, and and see all the people dressed up, and and that's cool. But like, does she ever say what the true attraction is, or Adam, what was the attraction for you?
I always thought I would look cool, but I never looked cool. I was like, you see, like, you watch those videos where someone looks really cool in a cosplay. I'm like, that could be me. And then like, I get dressed up and I'm like, I do not look cool. Like, not at all. And then like, I think for her, I think she looks cool when she does it. I think, she pulls it off really well. And like, it's fun. Like when we go to the con with her, everybody stops her and wants to take a picture with her. Even before like the whole like Princess of Comic Games thing, we would go to the cons, and I think she enjoys that, the attention,
Sure.
Aspect of it. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. No, that's cool. I just always, that's something like I had actually reached out to her. Like I was trying to get with you guys, and I'd reached out to her too about coming on 10 Questions. And that was really originally like, I want to know why. Like she was the one person I knew. Like maybe I could reach out to and could explain to me what the deal is with the cosplay, because like I said, for me, it's not anything that I'm personally ever going to do. If that's what anybody else wants to do, that's fine. And you're right. She does pull it off very well. As far as she looks cool when she does it. So yeah, no, I would look like a total dork. Like I would look, and I would want to dress up like Superman, and nobody wants to see this as Superman. Nobody. So, all right. So question 8 is this. You're seeing, and we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, Adam, and it's something that you had kind of referenced, is about indie comic books. And you are seeing a lot of people really, it's almost like a golden age for indies, right? Because the stories are so good. You see a lot of people really headed that direction rather than the big two, with DC and Marvel. And I don't know if you can call these companies now like Image and Dark Horse and people like that really even indies anymore. They're massive printing companies. They're putting out a lot of books. What do you think? Why do you think people are going that way? Like with my pull list, when I read books, I read Superman first because he's my favorite, and I will always read him first. But after that, I generally read the indies. Why do you think that is?
I think like the storyline has kind of gotten a little confusing because like back when I collected in the 90s originally and I was reading stuff, it still connected pretty well to the original storyline that came out like in the, in the 60s for a lot of Marvel, at least that's what I was collecting. Like you knew where Spider-Man was at that point in the 90s and where that connected all the way back to like, when he came out, 1963. Yeah, something like that. But
Spider-Man, 1961.
Yeah. So, but now when I tried to jump back in over the years, multiple times where I'd go to like the comic book store and I would like try to pick up the stuff that I liked. I would go get the Deadpool, go get the X-Men, go get the Spider-Man. And I was very confused where the story went from like what I remember in the 90s. And they've, every once in a while they do stuff where they start runs over at number 1 and you can kind of catch up in there and go with, especially if it's a character that you like. Which that's why I kind of like the whole Miles Morales story, because that kind of started over from a whole new storyline, and you got to kind of see from the beginning and see how it progresses out to where he is now, which is cool. But I think for indie stuff, for me, it's easier to start at that number 1 and know that there's nothing before that. I'm very much a completist reader. Like I need to know everything that happened before where I'm starting at that book. So when you get into the indie stuff, you get to see from the beginning. I think that's important. The stories are amazing too. They're so much different than what Marvel and DC is putting out as well. A little darker sometimes, which is nicer for us older readers.
Sure. Well, Zach, what do you think? Like with DC has actually done a pretty decent job of late with their Black Label, doing like Nice House on the Lake, for example. Like, right, Tinian is killing it. I mean, you've seen some. why do you? I mean, I think DC's actually on the right track. They figured out that hey, some of these horror titles, some of these things that the indie books are doing is something that we. Because I think there's something to what you said, Adam, which was the completionist aspect of it. Because you can start, and you've only got to invest 5 to 6 issues, right? And you're going to get the whole story usually. Zach, what do you think? Anything you can build on there as far as like as far as reading indies that what you think, why people are doing that?
Well, one, at least 30 years ago to now, the writing technique is better. It's better writing, and indies have less constraints. Outside of they don't need to have a black label because their whole kind of infrastructure is like, hey, do whatever kind of creative inspiration you have. You can do whatever you want with, as long as you don't like get super this or super that. They have less constraints and better writers, and those combinations is making people want to go towards the indies, I think, more. I mean, it kind of whole started with, I feel like, Walking Dead, because we haven't had a book like of that magnitude for indies, ever. So it's kind of like, oh god, this is dark, this is fun. There's characters I like. Oh no, the character died, but at least this character's still alive. Oh no, it's just like a roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down. It's fantastic, and like I said, no restraints. I think that's those combination of things making indies grow.
And the fact that they don't have to stick with the continuity, right? With DC and Marvel, you have a continuity you have to kind of write within, and you're probably really kind of hamstrung because I'm going to be honest with you, like everything Tynion is doing right now outside of Batman is awesome. But his Batman, I have not been into. Like I've read every issue of it, but it's just not standing out to me like Nice House on the Lake or Something Is Killing the Children. A book like that where it's their idea, right? And they get to promote their idea. They're not having to write within the constraints of the characters that have already been backed. I love those answers too. Great, great insight. The last 2 questions, all right, 9 and 10, are just really kind of softball questions, and just so that people who watch your channel who maybe don't know this about you can learn a little more. Do you have any hobbies outside of comic books? Like, do you like to play basketball or row? I don't know. What do you do in Washington? Like, do you have any other hobbies outside of the collecting?
I think big thing for us, we love movies and we love TV shows. So we watch a lot. We watch a lot of movies and hanging out. We're also really big into breweries. We have a bar that we're a member to that we actually pay to get like a special mug. So when we go there a couple times a week, and we get our special mug, and pretty big beer connoisseurs. It's difficult to drink that much beer and keep a low weight, but we try our best. But that's probably our big thing. I mean, I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy, but I eat, sleep, and breathe comics. I don't know. That's all I think about most of the time. It's weird, but
well, hobby. I like watching anime and everything Adam said, really.
Yeah, drinking beer. So
yeah.
I want to expand on that a little bit. Like, what's your do you like the IPAs? Do you like micro brews? Is there anything from the big companies that you like? Like, what's your favorite?
I like stouts and porters, and specifically barrel-aged stouts and porters. Mostly bourbon. I can't get the whiskey down very well, but bourbon barrel-aged.
Yeah, bourbon barrel-aged.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably the top. The aged, that stuff that's aged.
Because if they do it right, it doesn't have a big kick to it. It's flavors there, it doesn't have a big kick, and it creeps up on you super quick. So it's very nice. It's a good combination.
That's cool. Well, being in Kentucky, it's the bourbon capital of the world, right? And we have the Bourbon Trail here, and a lot of the world's best bourbon is made here in Kentucky. So I know a little bit about that. I used to really be into it. Now, as far as like I said, I've gotten older, married, kids. The business has grown, things like that. I can't pursue it as much, but I always enjoyed a good cold beer. Always a good cold beer. And I like trying different real stouts and porters. I always enjoyed. Adam, are you the same on the stouts and porters, or do you have a different palate?
I like it. I mean, I like almost everything. I'll try it. IPAs are good, depending on if it has too much bite. I don't like too much bite on the IPAs, but a good wheat beer, or when they do the fresh hopped like they'll do like the fresh hops in the summer. Those are always really nice. But I'll drink a cheap beer. Like if I'll go out and buy like a 6-pack of like Pabst Blue Ribbon or anything like that. Zach doesn't usually do that. He's got to have like the nice like $20 6-pack, and I'll go out and buy like the $7 6-pack. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, but
look, in college we would this is so sad. We would drink Natural Light because it was cheap.
Yeah.
And you could drink. I would drink a 12-pack just to get ready to go out. Because it was cheap and it really, was kind of watered down. So, but it was good. I could suck it down. I don't know. I always enjoyed it. All right. So that's interesting. No, that's cool. So question 10, last question, is any grails that each one of you are chasing right now? Is there like a grail that you're on the hunt for, or a grail that you've been trying to get for years and you just can't find?
What do you go with? What are you thinking? What are you hunting right now?
Well, I'm trying to hunt the rest of the X-Men series. So like X-Men number 5. I would like to get a high grade or mid grade X-Men number 4. I got one raw. Those are mainly, I guess, Uncanny X-Men 94 would be a good one too. I recently just picked up the giant size X-Men, so I'd say I'm trying to complete my X-Men run.
I think you're trying to get Hulk 181 is your big one. Right?
I was thinking about, but then I was like, do I really want to spend $7,000 for the copy I want? Not right now.
It is hard to let go of $7,000 for a comic book. I mean, it's still, when you're thinking about it, unless you're just flush with cash, it's still, and I think even if you were, it'd be hard to let go of it. What about you, Adam?
I've gotten like a lot of my big like Miles Morales keys I was looking for. I got that Ultimate Fallout 4, Marvel Preview 98. But I'm always there's nothing specific I'm looking for, but I'm always in the hunt for those like MCU keys. First appearance of Black Panther would be really cool to own. I don't have that one. Just any of the big one. I'm really connected to the MCU movie. So like anytime like a big key comes out that's close to that, like I just got like first Red Guardian, and I got first Taskmaster, because that kind of was important to me to get those. And I'm not the same way with Zach, where he's got to have that 9.0 or that really high grade. Like I'm all about like the low grade, especially like we'll get books together, especially if we do like these CGC. If there's 2 books that we have and then one's the lower one, I'll always take like the lower grade one. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to have the book.
Yeah, low grade is better than no grade, right? Is that how you look at it?
Yeah. I'm more excited to have. Definitely the investment part's cool, but I'm also just excited to have the book, that I want. It doesn't really matter the grade of it that much.
Do you I have slab books. The slab books that I have are banger books, right? And I actually keep them in a safety deposit box. They're not here. They're true investment books. A lot of books I have, I don't grade because I feel like I might want to read them again. I don't know. Because I really do like to read the books. And so I like to occasionally go back and read through a story. So do you guys have that at all, or do you prefer the graded?
With me, the hardest thing with me is I prefer reading them. And I especially when I was younger, I read the same books over and over again, like my Maximum Carnage series is kind of what like gave me the love for Spider-Man. I must have read that 30, 40 times. It's hard for me to want to read anything that's like too expensive. I don't know why. It scares me. I'm kind of like, that's why like as soon as I buy something brand new, as long as I'll just read it right away. Because I'm like, if I'm reading it now and it's only a $5 book, if it goes up, I read it when it was $5, but like what is it? I got The Truth or whatever. Got the Truth #1. I was like kind of scared to read that because it was like, it's like a $50 book. I don't know. I'm worried I'm going to damage it. Even though I'm probably never going to sell it, I'm always worried I'm going to damage it when I read it. I don't know.
I like to buy the reprinted copies to read if I have a book, in high grade. If a book's like a 1.0, you rip the cover a little bit while reading it, it's still going to be a 1.0.
1.0, yeah, that makes sense.
Doesn't change.
There's exceptions. I decided to get my, I think, Avengers #1 graded, and it was a 1.0. So maybe I should have done that, but it was like at that point for that 1.0 was literally disintegrating, so I wanted to preserve it. So
sure.
I had to get it graded.
No, that makes total sense. No, absolutely. Guys, that's the 10 questions. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I've really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun getting to know you
Yeah,
guys a little bit better.
Me too.
If you're watching this and you don't follow Comic Gains, I'll put all their information down in the description below. Definitely go check them out. It's a fun channel to watch. Like they said earlier, there's a lot of witty banter. You got Princess showing you the books. That's always cool. They open a lot of different mystery boxes, and it's just a fun channel to watch. I think you'll dig it if you go over and check it out. The last thing before I go is I do want to remind you, as always, have the code with Street Level Hero LA. That is STC10. That code will get you 10% off your order over at Street Level Hero LA. But most importantly, 25% of your overall order will be donated to the American Cancer Society for cancer research. So definitely go over to Street Level Hero LA. Big shout out to JPG for making that happen. He's been great to partner with on that. And really, guys, it started out as this limited time thing, and it just keeps going. He's like, no, dude, it's working. We're giving a lot of money to the American Cancer Society. Let's just keep going. So we just keep rolling with that. Go over and check it out. Also, there will be a link to a playlist down in the description. We're doing my 1,000 subscriber push right now.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. There's a playlist with all the people that are involved in my 1,000 subscriber push. It'll tell you what to do to go over and get signed up for all these amazing giveaways that we're going to do once I hit the 1,000 sub mark. So, guys, Comic Gains.
Yeah.
And the Princess.
Yep.
We appreciate you guys coming on here today. Go check these guys out. They're awesome. Great channel. Fun people to follow on Instagram as well. Go check these guys out. This has been 10 Questions.